What's up, YouTube? It's Mike here, back with another video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell for notifications, and if you like the video, please like the video. Really helps me out. I appreciate it. So the 1,500 gallon aquarium is done, and that was a long project. I've been pretty much doing most of my videos about that tank for the past like 3-4 months, maybe more now. And now that fish are in it, I don't plan on working on it again anytime soon. I don't have anything I really need to add to it right now. Eventually, I'm going to add some additional filtration. I'm going to add some tanks above it. And, you know, I plan on doing some other things. Maybe to the interior. Maybe even substrate. But for now, I'm going to let it prove itself, let it run for some months, and leave it alone. I'm also kind of sick of working on it, I'm not going to lie. Now that it's running, I'm pumped. I love watching it. I love enjoying it. But I am sick of working on that tank. But I will give you guys a quick look at it right now. And the cat.
Jack, I want you to draw me like one of your French girls.
You're going to notice this is probably the first time you guys have ever got a front view of this tank. And I am super excited to be able to get a view of this tank that is this good. So I had another tank in the way, especially through the build process. And now, finally, that tank is gone. I've been looking forward to getting rid of that tank. So for the longest time, I had a 180, a 6 2x2 aquarium through here, and it covered the lolly column here. And it basically gave me a really small little path to walk through here. And it blocked the 1,500. Now, I never wanted to have a tank here, but I needed the tank space for a lot of different reasons. So once the 1,500 was done, it kind of opened up some tank space for me, and now I've been able to get rid of this tank altogether and distribute all of the fish into different places. So I moved the vulture cat back over to the 1,100, and he immediately has been doing great in here. He did not, or has not, eaten the lungfish's legs again, so I'm happy about that. He seems to be minding his own business, but he eats very well, so I think he's happy to be back in a big tank and have some space. And I moved this hybrid, which is a hybrid ripsaw TSN cross. I've never seen, well, I have seen one other one, but sadly it passed. So this is the only one I know of. And when he was in the 180, he was a lot darker. That was a black background tank, and you could see his pattern much better. But in this tank, he has washed out, and a lot of tiger shovelnose wash out in lighter colored tanks also. But anyway, that's where he went. I moved my blind Alcelaris bass over to here temporarily. Well, I don't know how temporary it'll really be. And I also moved my Synodontis decoris over here. I had another Synodontis that was in that tank, which I ended up putting into the 220, and seems to be doing well. And to be honest, I don't even remember which Synodontis it was. I have a bunch of them. It may have been this one that just went back there. So far, so good. There's a bunch of Synodontis, but a lot of hiding spots. So I think it's gonna work, although I did just see a scratch on this one over here, so I'm hoping he's not getting picked on too bad. But Synodontis are pretty tough catfish. I think it is gonna do fine in here, and I've got a bunch more driftwood I'm gonna throw in this tank. Very shortly, I'm gonna be upgrading this tank also. This is a 220 gallon, that's what I calced it as. So eventually, I'm going to upgrade this tank to the 300, and I've talked about that in a previous video. You guys will see that come along very shortly. So, what I didn't ever show you guys was this Planiceps cat. This is a also known as a firewood cat, and speaking of cats, the cat will not leave me alone. So, I got this guy from a local, and I have never actually seen one in person, so I was really excited to get this guy. I quarantined him for a few weeks, but he's very healthy and he seems to be doing really well. He was not too happy in his quarantine tank, but his quarantine tank was very small. So He's doing really good, seems to be enjoying the space. He's very active in here. Of course, catfish are lazy, so he is being lazy during the day here, but he's been doing great and swims around just plenty. Very happy to have him to add to the catfish collection. And I don't know if you guys watched the video of when I went to visit Ohio Fish Rescue. Actually, that video did not get enough views that it deserved. It deserved so many more views, my trip to Ohio Fish Rescue. But if you guys go back, I'll put the link to the description in that video. I'll put the link to that video in the description. You guys go back and check it out. But Josh Price from Ohio Fish Rescue said that the Planoceps cat is something that they do not have anymore. They used to have one, and it passed away. So that's something that he really wants again. It's kind of like another bucket list fish for him to get back.
Okay, so something we've actually had in the past that we do not have now. I always love my Planoceps catfish. They are just super hard to find, and I will own one again one day.
So when this guy came up, I was like, man, I really want to keep one too. You know, I've never really seen one. So what I decided to do, I'm going to grow this guy out for a while, and if he gets too big, or we'll see how things go with him. There is potential for him to get too big for my setup, but I'm going to grow him out for a while and enjoy keeping him and get the experience of keeping him. And then I think I'm going to donate him to Ohio Fish Rescue. That will not only give him a better permanent lifetime home, but it'll also hook Josh up with something that he's been looking for again. So you guys could be on the lookout for that. That might end up being another trip for me to Ohio Fish Rescue too, so I can go visit those guys again. But that's pretty much it for updates on this tank. Everything has been doing pretty well. Over here, I recently sold another one of my rays, and I mentioned this in a previous video also, that I've been wanting to sell some rays off because I had so many males. And also, I wanted to mention that this tank is terrible for viewing stingrays, and there's tons of them in here, but because the lip of the tank is just so high in the front here, you don't get to see them all the time. So when I feed, they all come to the middle. But I sold my male Motoro Marble Hybrid, and he was getting pretty big too, but it was best to rehome another male again, because as they start reaching maturity, I would probably start running into problems with aggression. And I also have these pups over here who are reacting very well to me coming over. They're hungry. I think I'm gonna end up selling this guy off, and this little pup also. At some point, sell those guys to the right buyer. Again, I just have too many males, and I want to keep all the rays. I have a little bit of a ray addiction, but I'm trying to teach myself to part with them and kind of get a better collection of females and things that will do better long term for me. And of course, this little one will be going in that tank very shortly also. And another video that nobody seemed to watch was my last video on getting her. So I'll put the link to that video in the description also. You guys go back and check out my last video of picking up this albino pearl. She is absolutely beautiful, and as you see, she's responding really well to me also. She's a great eater. Go back and check out that video of me getting her. Here's another little update while we're over here, is this little short body red-tailed cat, which I absolutely love and adore. I just haven't found a great place to put him yet. I'm kind of worried he'll pick on my tigrinus, which sits in the corner over here. So I was going to throw him in here, but again, I'm worried he's going to pick on the tigrinus, so I don't know. I might try it and just see what happens. Maybe they got enough room. Pinky is freaking out. He's trying to bite me from behind. Dude, chill out. But anyway, he's a really cool little short body RTC that I'm excited to grow out. And hopefully move him to one of the big tanks eventually once he gets some size on him. But the point in this video that I kind of wanted to get into again, but I've got two pretty big tanks here that I do want to get set up and rolling. It's a waste of space, and I hate that I'm crowding this area. And now that I've cleared out this area, I'm just really excited to have the room for activities.
From a store. Should have been.
Look at all this floor space.
So
You
much,
do aerobics in here.
so many activities.
So this 300, as you guys might know, I grew out all the raisin. So my thoughts are I can upgrade. This is a little over 7 feet long, and that 300 is 8 feet long. So I can upgrade this 220 to the 300. So all these smaller cichlids and little cats and whatnot, odds and ends that people have given me over the years, I will upgrade to the 300. Better footprint for them, I think, and obviously the extra water volume will be good as well. And I don't know what that means for the 220 initially, but I think what I'm going to end up doing is sell the 220. I have a few different people who are interested in it, but I have one specifically who I will probably sell this to, and I don't think I'm going to need it long term. I don't necessarily want to be running a ton of tanks like I have been. My goal has always been to kind of run like, 4, 5, 6 big tanks. So if I can upgrade this one to a bigger tank, that would be great. We are still stuck with Pinky here, and I hate that he just seems to always get screwed out of tank space, but I attempted to put Pinky into the 1100 gallon. And unfortunately I filmed it, but something happened. Maybe I didn't hit the record button. I'm not sure what I did wrong. I screwed something up, and when I moved him over, I missed the footage. So I do have this small clip of me throwing him in, and he looks great in there, and it was so cool while it lasted. Bottom line is, it did not take long for Pinky to get very annoyed with anything in there, and he started chasing iridescent sharks and trying to bite stuff. So he started trying to bite the ray, and he was especially annoyed with the iridescent sharks. So he was in there for maybe an hour tops, and I had to move him back. It really sucks because that was one of my biggest things. I'm like, if I build the 1500, I can get all the sensitive fish out of it and do catfish and maybe one giant gourami. I knew it was a long shot to think that I might be able to get Pinky to work in with any other fish, but I wanted to try because it would have been so nice. I've always wanted a nice big giant gourami in one of these tanks, but it's not going to work. So I've had to move on from that idea. I did have somebody who was going to take him and put him in a big pond down south, but I think they bailed out. I think they're a little bit afraid of his aggression as well. I'm not sure what to do with this guy for now because I feel like I'm a little selfish keeping him in a small tank like this. So I'm not sure long term what I'm going to do. If I can find a good home for Pinky, I think I will rehome him. And it's more for his sake than mine because I do love him and people love to do this and come over and, play with him and get the response out of him. Very cool, personable fish, even though he's aggressive. But I do not think it's necessarily fair for him, even if he gets the whole tank back in the future, which he will. This is still too small for him, and I feel bad keeping him in it. So I am actively looking for a nice big home for Pinky with somebody who can either keep him alone or keep him with a huge group of giant gourami. That's really the ideal case for him. If he was in with a big group of gourami, I think they would work out a pecking order, and that might work out. But for now, I still have Pinky, and I'll enjoy it while it lasts. But just know that someday I think I'm going to have to rehome him. But the next big project now that the 1500 is done, is the 600 gallon. However, I got really excited and I'm like, oh, I can start setting up the 600, and then I realized, you know what, I really need to finish my basement. I started finishing these walls before I built the 1500, and I really need to do the same here before I put the 600 in place. So I have to frame the walls and do the sheetrocking and get it up to the same point that I've got these walls at. And then once those are done, I can pretty much complete my basement and start doing the ceiling. I like doing the basement slowly in pieces because, first of all, I don't want to do it. And second of all, it gives me a nice mix of projects. So there will be a little delay on this tank till I'm done framing this wall. But I do plan on doing a little bit in between here, in between projects to mix it up. A few things I got to do is, one is I'm going to have to buff it and clean it. So you guys will see that come along. And I also have some holes that I need to patch. So you guys will be seeing that come along quickly. Or I should say, you guys will be seeing that come along shortly. Like I've talked about before, it will go in this spot here. And I'm going to put it on a loop again, attach it onto a closed loop system with the 1100. It will have its own additional filtration, but it will have another pass-through system just like the 300 did. And I really liked how that worked with the 300. It keeps the tank stable and less likely of having any kind of spikes. There's obviously some downsides to having all the tanks on one system. However, I've got it set up so I can easily close it off and run it independently. I can do that with any of these tanks. Even though the 1500 here is connected to the 1100, I can easily close these tanks off and run them all independently if I ever have any problems or need to treat anything. So you guys are going to be seeing this come along slowly but steadily. No promises on how quickly I'll be able to get it done, but I do try to work quick, especially when I want something done, and I'm really excited to get this 600 going. So be on the lookout for a bunch of projects, guys. Really am always trying to either upgrade fish or upgrade something in the fish room, filtration, and just slowly making things better. I think that's what the hobby's kind of all about. Trying to give fish better homes if possible, and get better at keeping them. We all make a lot of mistakes in the hobby. I'm constantly making them, and I just trying to learn from them. But I really enjoy the hobby, and I really enjoy all the projects. So always something going on. Be on the lookout for the videos, and I really appreciate you guys always following along. But that is pretty much it for this video, guys. I thank you as always for watching. And again, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. The likes and the comments really help me out. Plus, I really enjoy reading the comments. Positive, negative, like, or dislike. I do appreciate it. I always appreciate all the positive comments. You guys have been awesome since day one, since I started the channel, and as it has slowly been growing for me, I really appreciate it. So thank you guys again, and I will see you in that next video.